Well, hello.
What is up, boy?
Live with a special, very special co host tonight. We have the Barking Brown Show presented by Network 216 with me, Nick. But instead of Jacob, we have the one and only Kentucky Fried Christian.
What is up, Nick Cards?
How the hell are you, Christian? How you feeling today on a Victory Tuesday?
I'm feeling dangerous.
Ooh, dangerous, you say?
Very dangerous. More dangerous
Okay.
than quite said ex Browns quarterback is.
How is that going for them? Woof. Hey, you know what? You know what? That's okay because what matters is we are riding off our first victory in a month. A month. I I didn't
hey,
even think about it, Christian.
hey, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
It is how you finish. And you know what? I know the Browns didn't beat the Ravens, but I think they started to play, especially defensively, better
Yeah,
against the Ravens.
for
And
sure.
who is this what is this
Bro,
defense?
listen. The Browns dressed up as a real contender last night on Halloween. That's what happened. They dressed up as a real contender. Hopefully they kept the costumes so they can
Yeah.
stay like that.
You know what? I think honestly, I love the costumes, but I do think that this is a sign of more to come. It's not like I know the Bengals were without Jamar Chase. I understand, right?
We were without JOK. We were without Denzel.
Yes, we
We were
were.
without Perrion. I mean, he really ain't that big of a piece, but I mean, we're still without him.
Oh,
I mean, there's a few people out for and the
yeah,
Joku. We're always out
that's a
without
big
the
one too,
Joku.
right?
So
And so I think a lot of people had big questions about how the Browns were going to look, how are they going to respond, and wow, I you know what? It was crazy to see a what I would think is a truly complete game from the Browns.
yeah, it's the first one we saw, probably in like a year or two, actually. Like full, like I'd say this is the most complete game we've saw since last year. Um, versus the Bears. What's up, Mandy?
Hi, Mandy. Thank you for tuning in. Wait, you know what? We saw all kinds of pictures. And no, you were in Cleveland last night. I can't. That place had to be rocking. I was not there. I was watching. Christian's
So
dad was there
yeah, can confirm. Old Dan Scott was actually in the dog pound, and
in
he
the dog.
said in the dog pound, and he was sending me videos, and I'm not gonna say what I told him, but no, but Dad seemed like he had a lot of fun. He said that was probably the best game he's ever been to. So
I just realized that I left the title "I Agree, Go Cavs" episode.
I'm gonna say
So
it's on Twitter as well.
yeah, okay. So in my defense, Jacob normally runs this side of the gig. And so I'm just here. I got Christian, thankfully. We're combining down with the Browns, barking Browns, all Browns. Here we are.
Yes, sir.
You know what? So I know I have the Cavs overlay. I don't actually know how. So we're just rolling with it today.
Nick Carnes is not the IT guy.
No, no, certainly not. So we're just kind of rolling with it at this point. But you know what, Christian, what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with offense, defense, special teams, Bengals? What do you want to start with?
Bro, this is your world, and I'm just in it.
All right, all right. Well, you know what? Nick Chubb still leads the league in rushing. It's yet another week. It's yet another week that Nick Chubb is the NFL's leading rusher, and I can't get enough of it. He lost the NFL rushing lead briefly entering Monday night, and by halftime he had already gained it back.
Yeah. How many yards is he ahead of Saquon? Is it 50?
I think that sounds right.
Well, what the crazy thing is him and Saquon both have bye weeks this week, so Saquon cannot actually pass him.
That's a beautiful thing right there.
So, barring whoever's in third can surpass both of them, I think Nick Chubb still. I think this is the year for Nick Chubb to actually get his rushing title.
We have another special.
Cook him up in the crock pot.
Whoa,
Manny, that was the
man.
funniest thing I've ever saw. Bro, me and Manny had the Bengals Twitter tore up. Especially Manny. Manny had them on strings. He was playing them. with like a puppet, bro.
For anybody who hasn't seen it, and Manny's a tremendous follow on Twitter, but he had his crock pot and making it look like he's cooking. And when he reveals it, it is a Bengals colored L that he's cooking up in the crock pot. Just golden,
So,
awesome, Manny.
so I hit the gritty. Luckily, it didn't like pop off because it's kind of embarrassing. It's horrible, but I did hit the gritty because you got into when you beat the Bengals.
I'm gonna blame you.
Yeah.
I won't. Good for you're living your best life, Christian. You're living your best life.
I mean, when all you hear all week is the Browns don't stand a chance, Joe Burrow's gonna own the Browns, yada yada yada, and they go in and just 32-13.
Manny coming in with the hot stats here.
So
Nick Chubb has 841 rush yards. Saquon has 779. It's a beautiful thing. You love to see it.
And both on bye weeks.
You know what? I think it's just obvious. That's part of, for me, that's part of my biggest frustrations with this Brown season is because I think, Christian and I are going to go into so many of the good parts of this Browns team. And I think even in the losses, there were a lot of really encouraging signs, but the record just completely erased any fun, any excitement, any like true recognition for a lot of the good things that are actually happening beneath the losses. So I think that's why I'm so excited. I mean, we get to savor this win for 2 weeks, and that's huge.
Oh yeah.
Dude, because you and every Browns fan here that's listening tonight knows how this goes. If they enter the bye on that loss, everything's sour. There's going to be some hit piece that comes out from pick an NFL writer about from sources inside the locker room. Everybody's mad at everybody. Who are we firing?
Yeah.
We avoided all of that.
I mean, we're probably having a different topic today.
Yeah.
Like, had we lost that game, I mean, Joe Woods might be gone, depending. Mike Prefer, but I mean, winning cures all. Like that, we always hear that, but that is the truth.
Yeah, it does. And so I was really, and Nick Chubb. The reason I started with Nick Chubb is because he's been leading the league in rushing, and I feel like he in particular is just taking his game to a whole new level in year 5. And there's so little recognition for it because the Browns are losing.
Yeah. Have the Browns record been flopped? Had we be 5-3, let's say that, or 5-2 going into this, Nick Chubb's going to be an MVP candidate, for sure. He's top 3. I mean, they'd be hopping him up like they are Saquon.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sure. He's got the most 100-yard games since entering the league in 2018. He's first in every stat: yards after contact, tackles forced, just first down runs, runs of 20 plus, like the whole list.
Well,
that goes on.
He's the only guy not a quarterback that has 10 plus touchdowns.
Wow. Oh yeah. He was the first to 10 plus touchdowns. And that's the thing. It's like he deserves so much of that. And so to finally see him, and we can soak it in for 2 weeks now. I love that. I love that for him. He deserves it too. He's been out there helping his team win games, and they're just not helping him until last night.
Yeah, for sure. And the whole team played great. How about Sione Talkie? Can we talk about that man? Can we talk about him?
Yeah.
13 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, tackle for a loss. The dude ate. He put on a clinic. Like, the Browns got to bring this guy back. He's been a dog.
Yep. It's not often that. So you're down your first 3 linebackers, right? Anthony Walker, JOK, Jacob Phillips. Mm-hmm. And so Sione Taki's like your 4th linebacker. And it's not often that guy, the 4th linebacker on any team, comes in and just dominates. And that's exactly what Taki did.
Yeah, for sure. And Deion Jones, I mean, the linebacker didn't look too bad last night. I mean, you had Deion Jones, he was balling. Taki was balling. What's his name? 51. I can't pronounce his last name. It's something like real funky. I can't pronounce it, but with the snaps he was taking, I mean, he was pretty solid. I'll have to look that up. Victory Tuesday.
What's up, Jeff? Thanks for joining us, man. We're always happy to see you. And I think, we can go. I would say that one of the weakest areas the Browns have been getting play from is the linebacker. Like, it's no secret how bad Jacob Phillips has been struggling, right?
Yeah.
So to have that type of performance from Taki was just awesome. And so you can let's keep going on these guys that deserve highlights. You know what I said in the Network 216 chat before the game? I was like, could Myles Garrett just have 5 sacks tonight? Could that just be a thing? And he didn't have 5 sacks, but the Browns did. Right. And Myles is like the biggest part of that with just tip that, you know what? It looked like the Bengals were going to drive right down the field there. The way they converted a long third down, that was frustrating. And then Myles tips that pass. We pick it off. And all of a sudden everything's flipped on its head.
Yeah.
I can't, you know what? Myles, he already is the Browns all-time sack leader. And I really felt like you saw the Myles Garrett that is a disruptor, is a force, is a game changer. That's the Myles Garrett that we saw last night.
So I jokingly said this on the pod a couple of weeks ago. I was like, Joe Woods and the Browns defense usually turns it on when it starts getting colder. And, honestly, the more I think about it, I totally agree, MC. I totally agree. But like, I feel like every time we play Cincinnati, that's when we just flip the switch, because you go back to 2020, that Monday night we beat Cincinnati. That's when we started going on a roll.
Yeah.
Like, and then we went to the playoffs, and then last year, we cut Odell. Boom, we start going on a little bit of a roll. Not gonna get into last year because but they start flipping a switch. The defense does once we play Cincinnati, and then this year, boom. Hopefully, the defense can play how they have the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. You bring up a good point, Christian, because if you remember, the first time we played the Bengals was the first time in the Kevin Stefanski regime was on that Thursday night when they brought out the orange pants and Chubb and Hunt combined for over 200 yards rushing. And we got that epic Thursday night win, right? Mm-hmm. Then the next time we play them is when Baker starts off looking terrible. He throws that pick. Odell tears his ACL, right?
And then 5 tutties.
5. And he set the record for consecutive completed passes, right? And then last year, the Browns are floundering. And then they just come and they just beat the hell out of Joe Burrow, kind of like they did last night.
Yep.
Baker's looking amazing. And then this year, and so the last game last year was against the backups. We still won, right?
Hey, it don't matter. We still own them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, these are the guys who went to the Super Bowl last year. And so to beat them, and especially when they're coming off just slinging the ball around. Correct me, I think they played Atlanta last week. Is that correct? Yeah, and they were up at 28-0 at one point, and they're just looking.
Burrow had what was it, right at 300 or 350 yards?
Yeah, I think he might have had over 400 passing yards.
I'm gonna go check that actually real quick.
Yeah. But so everybody's like, oh, the Bengals, they're getting it right. Slow start and getting right back into form. Now the Bengals offensive line, they figured out how to protect Joe Burrow, and now he's cooking. And then you know what? We see midweek.
Yeah, he had 481.
481
on 34 for 42, bro.
I don't have words for that. Let's see.
Insane.
Bengals, because I'm gonna look. So Joe Burrow, and I'm gonna preview.
Oh, you mean to give you the stats for that?
Yeah.
For the game yesterday?
So he had 232 yards passing yesterday. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But he went from 481 to 232 in the Joe Woods defense. I mean, everybody's calling for Joe Woods to be fired, myself included.
Yeah.
And to put on this kind of defensive performance, I don't know who.
Do you know how many yards they rushed for as a team?
How much?
36.
Woof. And you know what? That's something that I think. I was watching that game last night, and I was thinking to myself, like, they're not even trying to run, right? And like the Browns have the worst rush defense in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And so good for us. Thanks, Zach Taylor and their offensive. If you're not trying to run on the Browns, I don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but even so, the Browns are swarming. They're getting pressure. Isaiah Thomas had one hell of a club sack.
Bro,
That's a 7th-round pick.
that sack, dude, I thought it was Miles. Like how fast he came off the edge and how he just bulldozed the left tackle. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, Miles Garrett with another sack. And then I see 58 pop up. I was like, he
Yeah.
got that dog in him.
Hey, I mean, you know what? Taven Bryan, I thought he had a sack. He played pretty well.
Dude, he was.
You know what? They tried to go at MJ Emerson, and he was not having it. Shout out to him. I thought he played. I thought he performed really well.
Hey, we've got the warden. I mean, we could call Greg Newsom the sheriff, and then we could call MJ Emerson the deputy. Yeah.
I like it.
Have them all on lockdown.
Yeah. You know what? You know what? Too. I just think because we're basically just going through the defense right now. I haven't gone back and watched, but the one thing that was noticeable to me is I thought both Delpit and John Johnson have had questionable effort at times, and that was not something I saw last night. They looked engaged, just constant effort, and that was really nice to see because, man, if you're not trying, there's no win in there. There's no win in there.
Yeah. You know what I did notice?
What's that?
You know who was wearing the green dot last night?
Who?
It's JJ3.
Was it really?
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe that's why he wasn't given like all the effort. Maybe he wanted that green dot and he got it, and now they balled out. I don't know if that's what it was. But I mean, them boys played like dogs.
Christian, I want to get your thoughts on this because Jeff is here asking about this. So saying elephant in the room, the last 2 weeks without Ward, the defense has been insanely better.
I don't know if it's Ward. I mean, we all know Denzel Ward, great athlete, great corner. I think once we get him back, because I know going into this season, he had a hamstring injury.
Mm-hmm.
So he really didn't even get to play the preseason games, wasn't really practicing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if he just wasn't loose. And then now he's got this concussion. And I mean, seems like a really serious concussion. Because I mean, he's been out for like, what, 3 weeks now? 3-4 weeks?
And that's the most concerning because this is not Denzel's first concussion, right? He's had a few of them, I think, now. And so I'm not really sure. I mean, the Browns are really mum on injuries. They don't give a lot of updates. Like, it would not shock me. Like, if they say they put Denzel on IR, like that would not be shocking to me, honestly. Yeah. I hope that's not the case. I do think Denzel makes you better. I know he's struggled this year, but I do think he's a talented player. And he has shown, elite. I mean, the whole reason the Bengals game shifted last year is because he picked off Burrow when he was going for Chase in the end zone. Yeah. We all know that picture.
Oh, yeah. Right? Beautiful. It's like, he just jumps the route and tags it to the crib. But, one thing I've noticed about the defense the last 2 weeks, if you've noticed, they've not been playing as much zone. They've been playing a lot more man coverage. I mean, like if you'll watch them, the guy will go in motion, and then somebody will follow him instead of just the straight zone coverage Joe Woods played or called the first 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the season. So, I mean, I'm glad to see some more man coverage because these corners are man coverage corners. Like you put them in man, they're the most dangerous, secondary, I think. That's just me.
I just realized that. So I've actually never played around with this before, but until now, I was not streaming from my own account on Twitter. So sorry about that to anyone. Yeah, my bad. My bad.
Well, I got you, bro. I'll go retweet you real quick.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I think there's something to that you say, Christian. You know what? I don't know why it's taken this long for the defense, but there's something to it because they were genuinely playing well last year down the stretch, and we saw that, and I think that's why we were all so excited about the defense this year because we're like, look at how they finished the year. There's so much talent. They brought Jadeveon Clowney back. They got more. They drafted Emerson, who has panned out well. Like there was a lot to like, and so now you've got 2 games in a row against 2 division foes, by the way, where your defense has genuinely looked pretty damn good. So, and you escaped last night without any major injuries, right? You've got an extra week to heal up. I mean, maybe this is a point where the defense start. Maybe you make Tua uncomfortable in 2 weeks. Because
Well, I think that we got to have Ward back for that game because that's going to be a tough test to put MJ or Greedy on a guy like Jalen Waddle or Tyreek, however they want to. Denzel Ward would make that matchup a little bit easier. Going Denzel, Tyreek, Greg Newsome, Jalen Waddle, or vice versa, however they want to line them up. But I think we gotta get him back, and then JOK will have. I think we'll get him back pretty soon. I'm not for sure what the injury was.
I think everyone was surprised that JOK wasn't playing last night, so I would assume he's close.
Yeah,
that's just my assumption. That'll definitely be important, and I hope like keep building on what like Taki showed you something, right?
Yeah,
keep that guy out on the field. If the green dot on John Johnson's helmet is where it needs to be, then that's fine. That's fine with me. Whatever you're doing differently, you're finally figuring something out here, right? You're finally stopping people making getting to the quarterback, right? Because that's something too. Is that like outside of Mount, you got to make them uncomfortable, and it's. I'm not sure. My one concern still, I think, is that the Bengals didn't even try to run. Right. So the stats look good. And we obviously know that's a weak point. I don't think the Dolphins are particularly great at running the ball. I don't have stats in front of me.
Well, they made the move. They traded who was it? They threw him in the trade for Bradley Chubb today.
They sent Chase Edmonds away.
Chase Edmonds. And then they got a guy from
Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson. Yeah. I can't remember the exact names. Yeah. But I don't really think they're much of a running team. I think they're because if you go look at the stats, Tua is throwing the ball like 40, 50 times every game.
Yeah. And I mean, Tyreek Hill's and Waddle both are just piling up yards like they're nothing. So that's going to be a big test. But you know what? I think, the secondary played well last night. If they can keep playing to that's really incredible. And I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but yeah. I think that's what it's all about now, right? Because this was a great win, but you are still 3-5. You have to keep winning. And so that's why, now I think we're turning our attention there to Miami.
So I pulled up the stats. On average, the Miami Dolphins average 395 yards total. 306 of that is passing. 88 of that is rushing.
Okay.
So and their leading rusher is Raheem Mostert, 101 carries, 452 yards. So.
Okay, so he's averaging like 4.5 yards a carry. That's good, right? So it's going to be a test. It's definitely going to be a test. Miami also just added Bradley Chubb, the defensive end from the Broncos.
Yep.
Who, So that's, and I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we'll definitely get there too. I just want to say, because I think Christian, we're probably going to swap from defense to offense here.
Oh, let's go.
But in the meantime, just before we make that switch, I just want to say we are presented by our friends at Homage. This is an NFL Blitz Nick Chubb shirt, and I love it. I love it with all things that are great. They sell all kinds of, and you know what? We've still got, because technical difficulties are not my specialty. We've still got the I Agree Go Cavs up there. They got great Donovan Mitchell stuff. They've got all kinds of great gear.
Gardo stuff.
Yeah, Gardo stuff. Christian was telling me he just got the starter jacket.
Let me go grab it real quick.
Oh yeah. You got to show it off, Christian. You're gonna love this, right? Because if you haven't seen them, Homage sells these Browns starter jackets that are kind of vintage looking, and they are everything that you could ask for. He brought it. Yep. There it is. Look at it. The orange, the brown. What's not to love? That's perfect. It's
So this right here is my favorite part about the whole jacket.
All right. I believe in you, Christian.
That is my favorite part of the whole jacket, bro.
For anyone that's listening to the audio, inside the jacket it says, "If lost, please return to the dog pound." And that's what Homage does. That's their kind of thing there. So we've got all kinds of links that we tweet out from Network 216. All of us are sharing all kinds of stuff like that. So if you're looking for that, we can help you along with it.
Oh yeah, we got you.
Absolutely.
We the plug. We the
We
plug.
are. So moving over to the offensive side of the ball, we've talked a little bit about Nick Chubb. How about Amari Cooper?
He got that dog in him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He does. You know what? A lot of people before the year were like, Amari Cooper's not a wide receiver one. He's not an alpha on your team. And are you watching Amari Cooper play?
Are you?
Have you seen Amari Cooper? Looks like a wide receiver one to me. How
Yeah.
about you?
Mm-hmm.
I think he
Dude,
had a.
his route running so crisp.
I just
It's so crisp.
someone said to me today that the Browns leading receiver, who I assume it has to be Amari Cooper.
Mhm.
Amari Cooper has more receiving yards as of today than the Browns leading receiver had over the entirety of last year.
Yeah,
So
I think it was Njoku, right? With like 5'11", or was it DPJ? Whoever it was had like it was like low fives.
I think it was. I think
I want to say
Donovan-
Amari has 553 with 5 tutties. So
Wow.
he would already lead last year in both stats.
So what you're saying is the Browns made a good trade when they traded for Amari Cooper.
Probably the best finesse of last offseason.
I know. Okay, I understand that the Cowboys had to dump salary. I understand that, but the Browns gave up a 5th round pick for a wide receiver one on their team, and anyway, that's great. No matter how you spin it, and that's great. Did you see what Chase Claypool went for today to the Bears? A 2nd round pick. The Bears gave up a 2nd round pick for Chase Claypool. The Browns gave up a 5th round pick for Amari Cooper. Which one of those two players do you want? I think it's Amari Cooper. It's amazing because Jacoby Brissett's entering the year, which I know we're going to get to Jacoby Brissett. There were a lot of people that had a ton of doubts over Jacoby Brissett, and with Jacoby Brissett, Amari already has more receiving yards than anybody on the Browns did last year. So
just imagine him with 4.
That's coming too. That's coming too. I can't say enough about what Amari's brought to the team. It's just reliability. He catches everything. That diving catch he had last night was crazy. He just always finds his way into the end zone. He's scoring touchdowns. The Browns had like that crazy streak without a wide receiver touchdown for a long time, and now we're just making it look. Remember, people try to say Kevin Stefanski's system isn't for wide receiver ones. They can't nobody. They don't produce. You don't need to star, or you don't want a star receiver. And no, you just needed somebody to throw him the ball.
And I mean, we all know why. We all know why it wasn't effective. But if you ain't getting the hint, but I looked at the Chase Claypool stats. This is just gonna make the Amari Cooper trade even better.
I'm in.
You ready for this? You know how many yards he has on the year?
How many?
311 and 1 touchdown.
Woof. And Amari has. You said Amari has 5 something.
553.
553. Which one of those guys went for a 2nd round pick? Which one went for a 5th? So I hats off to Amari Cooper. He leads the right way. He just he just leads by example. All he does is produce. He catches everything. I can't say enough good things about him. And so I think we should transition to the guy throwing him the ball. How do you feel about Jacoby Brissett right now, Christian?
Right now, after this game, Jacoby's doing what I expected.
Okay.
I mean, he's gonna keep you in some games. And like I said before the season, he's not really gonna. He has lost us some games. He lost us 2, I believe himself. But I mean, I think the defense lost us a lot more than Jacoby did. Yeah. But for what we're asking of Jacoby Brissett, he has exceeded expectation, I believe.
I do too.
Because he is a backup. And I think he plays a lot better in this offense under Kevin Stefanski than the previous quarterback did last year. I mean, you
Yeah.
go back to 2020, you saw how efficient this system is, and then you go back and watch a lot of the games. Somebody's dad actually posted like certain son getting wide open a ton, and I mean, there's other guys that are like, I mean, this system gets wide receivers open, they get
Yeah.
tight ends open, and
Mm-hmm.
the running gun with Kevin Stefanski, bro, this offense for the people that want to fire Kevin Stefanski, man, for what he's doing with a backup quarterback, and he's finishing what top 5 in efficiency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what? To that point, Jacoby Brissett is setting career highs in almost every statistical category, right? And that's in the Kevin Stefanski system. And that's a guy that everybody tried to say was worse than the previous quarterback we had.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the two of them right now, one of them is setting career highs and just helped you win a critical game.
And
And
the
the
other's
other,
holding a clipboard.
the clipboard. So I'm not here to bury that guy. I'm just when you have people consistently trying to act like and you know what, a month of losing will do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We lost for a month straight. Nobody's happy. Everybody's upset, and I get it. But I don't think that the criticism to Jacoby was totally fair. I just don't. I know he hasn't played perfectly. I know he's thrown some interceptions that he would love to have back.
I'm not gonna lie, the Patriots game that kind of got under my skin just a tad. You know, I mean that was a bad game.
Yeah,
That was probably the worst he's looked all year.
I know.
But I mean, what I have noticed this year, under the lights in prime time, Jacoby Brissett steps up to the stage.
That's such a nice thing too. It's like the two times that the Browns have been on national TV, they've won both of them and like won in convincing, awesome fashion
Both double
against
digits.
both division rivals, which beating the Steelers. The Steelers are 2-6, 2-6 in Pittsburgh over there. How is that going?
So I was looking. I don't think the Bengals have won a division game this year.
They haven't. They're 0-3 in the division. 0-3.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, the Browns, as the Browns are 2-1 in the division, the remaining 3 division games are all going to be quarterbacked by Deshaun Watson.
DW4, baby.
And you've already beat the Bengals and Steelers with Jacoby Brissett. You played a game of inches with the Ravens, which that passing interference that was called against the Browns, but then wasn't called last night on T. Higgins. He's not call both or call neither. That's the stance.
Yeah, and one thing I think that's got to improve is the special teams unit. Like that's the only thing from the Browns that I think I'm gonna be a little bit nitpicky about on this episode. Man, like there 2 back-to-back games where the field goal gets blocked. I mean, that's gonna hurt you. I mean, like there's how many games have we lost this year that have been decided by 3 points?
Many.
So,
I think the Ravens game, Chargers, Jets.
Yep. That was a 1-point game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So those are 3 wins we're talking about right there, potentially.
Falcons.
Yeah. And the Falcons. Yeah. God, they all run together.
Yeah. That's what losing will do to you.
On a brief high note before we get back to special teams, because I didn't see this comment originally, but Ed is here. And Ed says his son Kellen went to school today, talked smack to Bengals fans, then followed it up by making the 7th grade basketball. That's what it's about. Congratulations, Kellen. That's, you know what? Browns win. Manifesting some good juju. Your son goes and makes the basketball team. Congratulations to him. Thank you for being here, Ed.
I expect a dancing video. I expect a video of you dancing because of that. So
yeah, I would love to see that.
For sure.
But I just, you know what? I agree. When that first, you know what? I entered this game, this Browns game, really mad at the Browns.
Yep,
And so when they kicked that field goal, well, they tried to kick the field goal and it was blocked again. I just was like, what are we doing? Oh, and
bro.
thankfully, go ahead, Christian.
No, you can go ahead.
Thankfully they managed to get out of that because holy moly, I just what I special teams has been woof.
Yeah. And we finally got a guy that can kick it. It's just like I don't
Mhm.
know if it's like the blocking schematic or if he's just kicking it low or if they're not distancing far back enough. I don't know how all special teams. I don't
That's
know
I
how that
don't know.
works, but
There's been so many block kicks, man. So many more than there should be.
mhm,
And that's been so far because we mentioned all those losses that were by single. I mean, a lot of those come down to those kicks,
mhm,
or those special team gaffes that just have been rough. And so, luckily, the AFC has been beating itself up. And yes, the Ravens are 5-3 and the huge favorites to win the division. But
mhm.
there's a lot of games left. There's a lot of games left.
Yeah, I mean, you're not technically you're still like a week out. Like, I mean, this upcoming week is makes it kind of the halfway point. There's still a lot of football to be played.
Yeah. And your best weapon yet is coming back. I think your defense just played the best game of the season.
Mhm.
Another fun stat I looked up today is the Browns held the Bengals to their least points all year, which I mean nobody would have predicted. I don't know who would have predicted that. Not me. Certainly not me.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I just I do agree with you though, Christian. The special teams, man, we have to stop letting these kicks get blocked and just you know what? I think they did kick an onside kick,
Mhm.
but it went out of bounds last, and I was like holding my breath. I was like, please, because we've seen that too. I was in that stadium for the Jets game, Christian, and it
Oh,
was
I was there, or not the Jets game. I was there for the Chargers. My bad. Mixed up.
I
Go
just
ahead.
that onside kick was just. I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
Bro, I remember being at the Steelers game that Thursday,
Oh,
and they go to kick that onside kick, and I thought they got it for a second at the end, but Anthony Schwartz luckily just smacked it out of bounds. But I was like, no, 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 no. I was like, oh no, not again.
so you know what though? It's a lot easier to talk about cleaning up special teams, maybe Denzel Ward, how all those issues. It's so much easier to talk about it in a win.
Oh, for sure. Winning cures all.
Winning does cure all. Who was your favorite performance last night? Who's the one guy that really stood out to you?
So, I'll give you the KFC dog of the week. I haven't posted it, and I'm gonna also do this again on Down with the Browns Thursday at 7. Uh, but the dog of the week, I've already said his name, Talkie Talkie.
All right,
That boy was in the backfield a lot. He was everywhere. 13 tackles,
13.
bro. He stepped up. He opened his eyes. A lot of people on Twitter was like, "We got to extend this guy ASAP.
Yeah,
So we cannot let him hit the open market because he will be gone."
honestly, you know what? Honestly, the performance Taki had last night reminded me of the Pittsburgh Steelers playoff game when
Yeah.
he picked off Ben and he was really good during that game. And I don't feel like we've heard a lot from him since.
You know, one thing I bet there's a stat when Talkie forces a turnover, I think we win. I think it's like that has to be like a stat
Yeah,
because I mean, you go back to the Philly game, has the pick six, we win that game back in 2020. The Pittsburgh game has a pick. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna research this. I think every time Talkie forces a turnover, we win the game. So I'm gonna go find that.
Jeff
Yes.
saying Taki at Mike linebacker is a monster. Taki at Will is not good. You know what? Maybe sometimes injuries help you figure something out that you didn't know.
Mhm.
Maybe Taki's going to just be that guy that can play your middle linebacker and just wasn't cut out for the strong. I'm not sure, but I'm certainly encouraged. Dog of the week, man. Dog of the week. I get it. The Christian's dancing. You
Bro,
love to
I'm
see it.
so hyped. I'm so hyped.
I am
This
too.
Browns win could not have came at a better time because, like you said, we're gonna let it marinate, serenade, however you want to say it,
Mhm.
for 2 weeks, and then we gotta
I
go to
think
Miami.
for the Browns themselves, like it's got to be so much easier to stay focused, to be engaged in the season, because you still I mean, I think the Browns were still looking at December 4th, like, and circling it on the calendar. But this I hope will be the extra juice that helps them get there. That helps them. You know what? They need to find a way to win 2 of the next 3, Christian. That's my theory.
If
Be
you
5.
can, if you can go into getting Watson back at 5-6,
Mm-hmm.
that's just perfect. Honestly, if
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can go into like 6-5, I mean, hey, let's go,
Yeah.
let's ride, let's
Yeah.
go to a Super
Uh-huh.
Bowl.
Yep.
Because I mean, first game back, you got the Texans. I mean, you never know. I mean, it might be one of them trap games, like. But I mean, it's Watson's first game. He's gonna want to ball out. He's gonna want to prove why the Cleveland Browns made that trade. Um, and I think they'll let him do his thing. I think they'll kind of open him up, just kind of like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
go do your thing. But then we got the Bengals the next week, and then we got the Ratbirds at home. I mean, first 3 games. I mean, those are huge. And if you get, let's just say he does win those first 3 games as a Cleveland Brown, and we do go in at 5-6. We win 2 out of the next 3 games. That's 8-6.
That's 8-6.
And then now you're not only 8-6, but you're 4-1 in the division.
Yeah, you are. And so you could potentially okay. So they wouldn't hold a tiebreaker over the Ravens because the Ravens did beat them, but then you would have a tiebreaker over the Bengals, which I think may matter a lot.
Well, I mean, you would be split with the Ravens because we'd be technically. So, I mean, I think it all depends on the divisional record. So, if you sweep Cincinnati, you tie with the Ravens.
Baltimore, yeah.
So that's 4-1. They're 4. They'd be probably 4-1. We got to root for Cincinnati to beat them at least once.
Yeah. We need.
So if they lose 2 in the division, I think it's going to be whoever loses 2. They're like going to be the second spot.
It's going to be close. I think it's going to be close, and I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah,
I understand that. All right, but I mean that's what you're when you have Deshaun Watson coming back onto your team, your aspirations are going to be high, right? And
I'm super optimistic anyways. Like, don't give me hope. Do not give me hope because I'm taking it the full 552 miles.
Yep, I am too.
Like, you give me a glimmer of hope, bro. I see the gleam. We're going to the like. You give me any sort of hype, bro. I'm talking Super Bowl.
Well, I'll tell you this, Christian. I'm going to Miami for the game, and yeah, we go to one away game a year. There's 10 of us, and I'm so excited. But you know what? The way my mentality approaching this game is so different with them coming off this one win. It's amazing the difference one win makes. Then if you were 2-6, you're like, well, I guess we're just waiting for Deshaun and we'll see how he looks and get excited for next year.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's 2-6, I mean, you're toast. You're basically toast.
Yeah, you're done.
But now we get to have all these conversations. These are so much more fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's so much. Browns Twitter's a better place after a W. Talking about the Browns is so much better after a W.
Dude, last week Jacob was here with me, and he used the words mock draft, and I was like, no,
oh gosh,
no,
too early for that.
Can't do it. Can't get back there, man. Like, that's just woof. Don't want that.
For sure.
So the fact that we get to be here and talk about this, and you know what, I'd like to highlight someone else as well. Donovan Peoples-Jones has just been consistent, reliable, and I really think that he will end up being a good wide receiver too for the Cleveland Browns for a long time to come. I
agree.
He's big, he's fast, he's athletic. And you know what? We really haven't seen him with a high volume pass offense yet.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think that's the one thing that's holding. I think he's talented. I think he's got enough. I really do. And so I can't wait to see what happens. And you know what? Even Jacoby's getting more comfortable. I think, you know, he's not setting career highs by accident, right? So you're starting to see that there's potential there. I think Donovan had like 80 some yards receiving last night. I mean, that's a good day for your
That's
wide receiver.
solid.
Yeah.
That's solid. And I think, like you said, I think he's going to be a very solid wide receiver too. The people's champ might be the safety valve receiver. I mean, we can talk about Amari Cooper and how big of a dog he is, but you know, when those clutch moments come up, they're going to be doubling Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
And you know who's not going to be doubled? The people's
champ.
champ.
Yeah.
Can we start that? Can we start that, Nick? The people's champ.
I'm in. The people's
Donovan.
champ.
Donovan, the people's champ. Let's get that.
Donovan,
Let's start that.
Yeah, let's get it rolling because you know what? I think he's only going to get better. He's definitely shown you a lot, and I am genuinely sad for David Njoku, who we'll see how long he's injured for. But I mean, he'll be back this year, right? Because he was really starting to come on too. That's something that I think. Those are the pieces that aren't getting talked about. Is like David Njoku's playing well. Donovan Peoples-Jones is playing well. And I know you want to say it, so go ahead, Christian.
Dude, I think he's going to be back. I think he's going to be back for the Miami game. The dude he's got like Wolverine blood. Like Russell Wilson said that he had. I think David Njoku might actually have that. Because I think him and Myles Garrett are built from the same cloth. Like, I mean, the car wreck Myles Garrett was in. Yeah. And now he, like, not even a month later. No, I mean, he's tearing up the league. Because, I mean, after last night, he's definitely back in Defensive Player of the Year conversation.
I mean, he was a force last night. So, you know what? I know it's taken too long. I think we all know it's taken too long. But if the defense can play to this level moving forward, you're going to get more wins. You're winning like you are.
If you can keep up this, at least – the defense can play like they did last night. At least, how many games we got left? 8. We got 9 games left.
Let's see. So we're 3-5. That's 8. So we have 9 games left.
9 games. If you can get that defense to play how they did 7 out of the next 9, I think you can make the playoffs.
That's what we're talking about. Because that's the ultimate prize, right? Like, I think entering the year, when Deshaun was initially suspended for 6 games, I think everybody said, okay, well, you could be like 3-3 by the time he comes back, so you've got a chance. And I think, you know, people genuinely thought, but once it was announced to 11, that really brought the expectations down, right? And I mean, rightly so. It's going to be a road to get there. It's going to be right, but you know what? When you lose games you're not supposed to, you have to win games you're not supposed to. And that's what the Browns did last night. They weren't supposed to beat the Bengals.
Yeah, and in the next 2 games, man, they're going to be tough. I mean, Miami's playing like contenders right now. The Buffalo Bills are everybody's favorite right now. That's the team the media is hyping up because Josh Allen is Josh Allen.
Yep.
But I don't know, man. I think the Bills are so one-dimensional. I know I'm already the next 2 games, but the Bills are so one-dimensional, and I think if we can get Denzel back and the secondary can keep playing how they've been playing, but add Denzel in there on Diggs, I don't know, man. It just gets me excited, man, because I know we've seen this defense ball out. Like, going back to last year, we saw what Denzel was doing. We know Denzel's that guy. I mean, we paid him. We know Denzel. He's not have been so hot this year. I mean, he's had flashes. But, man, if we can get Denzel back where he was last year, and the way the defense, if we can get them playing how they did, man, like, I'm just so excited.
I think my favorite thought, and as we wrap up here, I think this is a great place to get to and talk about is if you can make Joe Burrow uncomfortable like they did last night, you can make any quarterback in the NFL uncomfortable. I mean, Joe Burrow outdueled Patrick Mahomes last year to go to the Super Bowl, right? And so I just think he's in that echelon of guys that is just going to kill you if you let him sit back there and pick you apart. And the Browns were able to get to him, to rattle him, to fluster him. And that's not the defense that we've seen to this. Well, I mean, they did do that to Lamar. Lamar didn't complete many passes either. But the last 2 weeks, especially, like it's like you're finally starting to get pressure, like we all thought you would from the start of the year.
Yeah. And I mean, like going back to the Ravens game, had there not been a few miscue plays on the offense and then a blocked kick, I mean, you win that game. I mean, and now you're sitting at that. But like you said, man, not like you said, dude. I'm just so excited because after a win, my mind just goes Super Bowl, Super Browns.
Mm-hmm.
I just get so I'm Mr. Optimistic.
Yes, sir.
So
I'm glad, Christian.
I'm so excited, man.
You were, Christian, I want to thank you because you were the perfect person to do this show with. I think we're both optimistic, excitable people.
Yes, sir.
And so coming off a win, it couldn't feel better. So I think with that said, we have so we did have technical difficulties. I apologize, everybody. Look at that. But Christian created that. And I retweeted it when I saw it this morning. Joe Burrow is Myles Garrett's son. Myles Garrett makes that dude's life hell every time they play. Every time. It's amazing.
I love it.
It's oh God. When Myles plays like that, it's just like, who's blocking him? No one. No one is blocking that guy.
When Myles Garrett is in prime time, he shows up.
He just does. So thank you, Christian. If you have not checked out Down with the Browns, Christian and Manny was here, and were any of our other Down with the Browns? No, but Manny was here. Christian and Manny were Down with the Browns. They're both great. If you haven't seen their stuff, Christian's out here tweeting memes of Myles Garrett holding baby Joe Burrow. Manny's cooking up L's for the Bengals. Down with the Browns.
Max tweeting about stats every day. Matty G's tweeting the hot takes. Yeah. We're going to be live Thursday on this here network at 7 o'clock. We have a special guest. It's actually a pretty big guest. Okay. So we're not going to drop names just yet. Probably tomorrow we'll announce it.
I can't wait to find out. So thank you, Christian. If you don't follow them, if you haven't seen them, you can find all of us at Network 216. Will take you everywhere you want to go. KFC, what's your at, Christian?
KF Christian _.
KF Christian _ That's all you need to know. So with that being said, I'm Nick. Whoa, he's Christian.
Yeah.
This has been episode 81 of the Barking Browns Show. Go Browns.
Go Browns.